Have you ever wanted a universal regen system that you could use on any stat for magic, stamina, or even health? Well, that's what we're covering today. You're in the right place. All right, true creators, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start out today in this 5.5 third person project template. We're going to start by going to the content drawer, into the third person, into blueprints, and right here, we're going to right click and we're going to go to user interface, widget blueprint. Select the user widget for the default one. Now we're going to name this W underscore menu UI. Control Shift S. Now let's go ahead and open this up. Okay, so right here, what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and type in canvas in the search here on the right, or I'm sorry, on the left. And we're going to drag and drop that right onto our menu here. Next, we're going to need a progress bar. And we're going to drag and put that right onto the canvas panel. Now, let's go ahead and select our progress bar. Now, for the progress bar, we're just going to call this we'll call it, let's say stat bar. Just to give it a universal name. Do a compile and a save. Now, let's go ahead and take the stat bar and put it down here. And we're going to use it, we're going to put it like right about here. And we're going to go ahead and change some colors here. So let's go ahead and start. Well, first, let's anchor this. So we got it here at the bottom of the screen. Make sure that we select anchor in here. So that way, no matter what device we're on, it'll adjust to this basic part of it, okay? Next, we're going to change this from left to right to left, because we're going to have our bar drain to the right. For the Style tab, we're going to open this up, and this is the actual background. We're going to open that, and on the tint, we're going to change this. And for this example, I'm just going to use purple, I guess. So let's go like maybe here, I guess. That looks pretty purple, but we want it to, well, let's leave it like this. And I'm just going to double click here. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to copy this. And what I want to do here for this, I'm going to lower this down to where it's like a really deep dark purple, okay? And then I'm just going to hit OK. And we can minimize that back. Now, right here for the fill color, we're going to open that up, double click it. And then right here where we just copied from, we're just going to double click, right click, and paste. Let's see, and that should give us our purple, okay? That's going to be that bright purple, okay? Now, to take a look at what's happened here, we can go to our percent under progress, and we can just drag this all the way out. And that way you can see the full fill. And we're going to leave it at 1.0 for its default. Do a compile and a save. Okay, now for this next part, we're going to need to move to the graph up here in the upper right corner. We're going to select all these nodes here and delete those. And then right here, we're just going to drag this bar right out here, okay? And what we want to do here is we're just going to, do a get. And we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to do a set percent, okay? We want the function, not the variable. We're going to drag off of here and type in divide. Because, you know, the current versus, basically the current versus the max is when you divide those two, that's when it gives you the percent to fill the bar. All right, let's go ahead and do a right click over here. We're going to do a custom event, so just CUST and enter. And we're going to type in update regen bar, okay? And we're going to do a compile and a save. Let's just go ahead and hook this all up. We're going to hook this up to here. And we're going to take this one here and this one and drag and drop. See, when you see the plus sign, that shows it's there. And then right here for this, we're just going to call this current stat And this bottom one, we're going to call it max stat. Okay. Do another compile and save. Okay, so now let's go and head over to our content drawer. We're going to double click and open up our third person character. And right above here, we're just going to do a right click and we're going to do an event begin play. Right click here, and then we're going to do a create widget. This one right here under user interface. See? We're going to hook this up. And then right here, we're going to select our widget. So we're going to call it's the W main UI. So this is the one we just created. We're going to grab off of here, and then we're going to go ahead and promote the variable. And we're going to name this main. Let's see. We're going to, right here while it's highlighted, we're going to name it main UI ref. So now we have a reference to that widget. Next, we can drag off of here and we can do an add to viewport. Compile and save. Okay, so real quick, while we're here, let's just go ahead and highlight this, and we're gonna hit the C key, and we're just gonna call this widget creation. And while we're here, let's go ahead and check the bubble, and I'm gonna change this to a white color to make it stand out. And the bubble is just for when you go far away, you can see it a little bit clearly. Compile and save. All right, so while we're here, we're going to need to make, well, two variables real quick. Let's make those. We're gonna make a current stat variable. So we're gonna call this current stat. And we're gonna change this to a float. And then we're gonna hit the plus sign again. And then we're gonna do a max stat, okay? And then do a compile and save. Now, let's go ahead and make sure we fix this. So let's go to the current stat, and while it's highlighted, let's go ahead and make it 100. And let's also make the max stat 100 as well, okay? Do a compile and a save. Now, let's add a function. So we're gonna do a new function, and we're just gonna call it Regen over time. Do a compile and a save. Now for this next part, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build out the code and then I'll explain what's going on, okay? All right, here we go. Okay, actually before we start, I'm gonna show you something because I need to set something up for you guys. So, okay, so here's how we're gonna do this. We need to add some variables to this one right here. So we're gonna add two floats real quick on the input side. So let's go ahead and add those. So first, we're gonna do the current stat. And we're gonna make that a float, okay? We're gonna also add another one, and we're gonna make this max stat. Okay? And let's go ahead and do a compile and save. And we need to add two more variables here. So the next one we're gonna need to add, and this is gonna make sense in a second, I'm just gonna drag the main UI ref and get it, okay? And from the main UI ref, we wanna get our stat bar, okay? And for this, what we want to do is we want to drag off of here and add that, okay? And that's just target. So this is what's going to connect on the outside. So I'm going to put this over here just to make it simple so we understand. And on the outside of this function, actually, while I'm here, let me go ahead and add this. So we're going to do a get here, and then we're going to do a max here. Sorry. Max here. Get max. All right. So all these functions here will be outside of this function. They'll be passed through this way. I'm trying to figure out a simple way to explain it, and I hope this helps you guys. Let me know in the comments below if this is helping you, okay? All right. Now, the other thing we're going to need, because we need to make one more thing to pass through to go to the outside, is going to use something called clear and invalidate. So we're going to do a clear and invalidate timer by handle, okay? Now we need this handle here. We're going to drag and drop, and whenever you drag and drop this, it'll add that pin. See the green check mark? So now we have everything we need in order to have that, okay? I'm going to leave this here for a second, and then what I want to do is, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do, well, let's see. I'm going to, actually, let me delete this status bar, because again, this right here, let's see, we can do an Alt, and I just did an Alt and left click, and I'm going to add this right here, okay? So you can have a clear idea of what's going on. This right here, see these right here? And actually, I might copy and paste them. This is passing to this is passing to that, and this is passing to this, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take some time here, and I'm going to build out the blueprint, and then I'm going to go over it. All right, here we go. Okay, so I had to stop here for a second because I forgot something. So we're going to drag off of here from the status bar, and we're going to get the percent from it. Okay, and we're going to get the variable. We're going to do the get. Okay, now the reason I did this is because we needed this to get it. So we're going to grab and drag off of here. Okay, so I just thought about it as I was doing it. We're going to highlight this real quick. Okay, we're going to actually, this is okay. This is a learning lesson. So this target here, we're just going to delete this right here because we don't need that. The way we want to do it is we want to grab it from here and then create one, okay? So now we can take this target here, and this is going to connect to here. That's what that's for. So we're passing that through, okay? So let's go ahead and put this back and move this right here. And I'm going to put this right here, and I'm going to continue, all right? Here we go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go through the code. Okay, so this right here is going to pass into this function. It's going to go through a sequence, which is going to activate all this, okay? And right here, we're going to add 10, okay? And that's we're going to take the current stat and we're going to add 10 to it, okay, whenever we fire off this function. Now, we're going to get the current stat and the max stat. If they're equal, if we add it, it's going to just kind of keep snowballing, okay? And then it's going to go to here. And once it's full, let's see, right here at the end of this logic, we're going to clear the timer, okay? So while this is incremented by 10, we got to increment the bar by 0.1, okay? Let's see, 0.1. Right. And it's doing basically the same thing. We're getting the variable, we're passing it through, we're setting percent, we're fixing it for the percent bar, and then right here, okay, if it's equal to 1, then that means the bar is full, and then that way we can execute clear timer, and then we can reset all the logic in this function again, okay? So let's go ahead and do a compile and a save. Now, right here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all this, and this is a very important thing I'm telling you. You're going to do a Control-C while this is highlighted, okay? And this is the same thing you're going to do whenever you're trying to copy code from one thing to another, okay? So let's go ahead and go back to the event graph, and right here you can see you can just click left click anywhere on the block here. Control V, and you've copied and pasted. This is how you're going to take this logic and put it into your other projects, okay? That's the basic method. So do a compile and a save. Okay, so for this next part, I know it's going to seem kind of strange. I'm building it a little bit backwards, but it's okay. What we're going to do is that very function that we made, that regen right here, regen over time, we're going to just grab and drag that over here. And what we want to do is we're going to hook up all this stuff, okay? So let's go ahead and move this down here. And we're going to put the target to the target, the max to the max, and then the the current to the current, okay? Now, we're going to need to make a custom event for this. So just type in the word CUST and enter. And then what we want to call this is a regen over time. Okay. Now you can see it, this right here, this custom event and this function is exactly the same. So when you're doing a search, that's why I always like to put an F in front of it to identify it's a function. Because if you don't, then both of these will be named the same, and it's really easy when you do the search that you'll actually lose where you are. So that's what that's for, okay? Now, we're going to make another custom event, CUST, enter. And we're just going to call this standard. See, standard regen. And we're going to do a right click, and we're going to do a set timer by event. Okay, we're going to highlight this right here. I'm sorry, we're going to add this to there. And see this event right here? This is the event we want to trigger right down here, okay? And we're going to set this to looping. We're going to set this to 1. Enter. Let's see. Okay, so right here, do a compile and save. Right here, we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to promote this variable, and we're just going to call this clear regen handle, okay? Now, we've got our variable here. Now we can add our handle. See this right here? So let's go ahead and move that down a little bit. Drag off of here, get it, put it here. Now, you didn't have to do that. I mean, you technically could have done this, but I just did it just to make it a little bit neater. So now this is the full code, okay? Do a compile and a save. Okay, so while we're here, let's just go ahead and highlight all this. And let's do a C, and we're going to call this regen logic, okay? Go ahead and add a bubble to it, change the color, and that's it, just to make it easier for you when you're looking at your code, okay? Okay, so to better help you guys out, here's something I want to show you that you'll have to change, okay? So whenever you're adding this logic, you're going to need to change, let's see, you're going to need to change, let's move this up here, move this here. These variables right here are the things you'll have to change. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to do a C again, and I'm going to say update these variables for your bar, okay? And while this whole thing is highlighted, let's see, highlighted. There we go. We're gonna change this to, like, I guess a red, maybe like an orangish, like a bright color, okay? Okay, so now with this right here, okay, we're gonna need to also change one other variable. So let me highlight this one more time. Let's actually double click this here. And what I want to do is I'm going to copy this color here. And then I want to show you another place when we hit OK inside of this function that you'll have to change. So you'll have to change these variables with your new one, okay? So right here under current stat, we're going to hit C, and we're going to update this variable. Okay, hit enter, and let's go ahead and change that. Let's do the copy pasty thing here, hit OK. That'll change that variable to that color, and that way now you know which variables to change when you're setting up your own project, okay? And while we're here, we can go ahead and make a bubble of this. That's cool. let's go right back to, well, compile, save, back to the event graph, okay? So, yeah, I'll just drag it out here so it's very dramatic, okay? And right here, see, while this is set up, we can do a show bubble here and compile and save. So like I said, I put this here so that way you can easily change to your project, okay? All right, now we have our regen logic. Now we need a way to damage ourselves or trigger the regen logic, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna right click here and I'm just gonna use a simple 1 key to press, okay? And then from here, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna build out the rest of the logic. So sit tight and you can watch as I go. All right, here we go. Okay, so we're all set. So let's go ahead and let me walk you through the code. Okay, so right here, we're just hitting the 1 key and we're basically reducing the stamina bar by 10. So we're gonna put 10 right here and we're just gonna do a compile and save. And then, you know, we got the max value was at 100. So that means we can hit the bar 10 times, and in between 0 and 100, that's all we can do. It's gonna set the current stat to that. From there, you're going to update the regen bar, okay? Which is inside of the menu here. So we go here, that's the regen bar thing, go back. And then right here, we're gonna do a branch. If it's true, we're gonna wait 3 seconds. I'm sorry, let me fix that. Let's make it 3 seconds instead of 75 seconds. And then we're gonna activate the regen code. So if it's less than 75, that's when this is allowed to trigger. Now, the way I got the regen bar here is I grabbed my menu reference and dragged and put it here, dragged off here, typed up, update regen bar, and that's how I got that. So like I said, 1 key, we're going through all the process here of deducting the current, showing it in the regen logic, going on, waiting 3 seconds, and activating the regen. Now, all I did here was I just typed in standard regen, okay? And the reason that happens is because it triggers this logic down here, okay? So this is the print. I made a print string saying stat low, it activated. That's just gonna pop up for 2 seconds in the left corner. Let's do a compile and save. That's gonna pop up in the left corner and that's gonna show us what's going on, okay? That's the only reason. You don't have to have this, but I do it just to show the trigger of it, okay? Now, right here, we're gonna trigger the standard logic here, and this is everything that we did earlier, okay? Now, like I said, these variables will have to match whatever you're doing. So this, instead of this saying current stat, it would be health or current health. Instead of max stat, it would be max health or max stat. And then when you drag from your main UI, which is the reference from your main UI, you're going to drag it to, instead of calling stat bar, you would call the health bar or the stamina bar or the magic bar, and you would pass it through. Now, if we double click in here, that's where all the magic happens, all in here. And that's the logic that I told you earlier. We're clear to handle, and it's a rinse and repeat, okay? Let's go back to the event graph for a second. Okay, I think that should cover everything. So let's go ahead and head over to the event graph. I'm sorry, the actual viewport, the level, and let's just go ahead and play and test out our logic. So as you can see here, if you hit the 1 key, and because I have it set at 75, that means nothing's gonna happen. So over the next 3 seconds, so if we count 1, 2, 3, nothing's happening, right? Okay, now we have to go 75% or less. So when our health bar hits 75% or less, upper corner, stat regen, and that's how you do it. So that's how you would cover the regen logic. Nice, you completed the video. Let's see what you can do with the next one. Let's go.